Everyone in the neighborhood knew the house at the corner, the one with the always locked gates and windows that never stayed open for long. From the outside, it looked like any other home, painted cream, flower pots by the door, children's shoes neatly arranged every evening. But inside that house lived a woman who breathed fear more than air. Her name was Amara. Before marriage, Amara laughed easily. She sang while cooking. She dreamed of growing old beside the man she loved. When she married Kunle, people said she was lucky. He was respected, hardworking, and loud in public, always buying drinks, always smiling. No one noticed how his smile never reached his eyes when he looked at her. The first slap came 2 years into the marriage. He said she talked back. She cried that night, not from the pain on her cheek, but from confusion. He knelt afterward, apologized, blamed stress, promised it would never happen again. She believed him. Love makes excuses for cruelty. But the slaps became punches, the punches became beatings, and the beatings became routine. Almost every day, Amara walked on eggshells. If the soup was too salty, her ribs paid the price. If the children cried too loudly, her back suffered. If she returned from the market 5 minutes late, fear sat heavily in her chest, tightening with every step toward the gate. Many times, she stood outside the house long after sunset, trembling, begging God to make Kunle fall asleep before she entered. Sometimes, she waited until the children slept at neighbors' houses, just to avoid them seeing their mother beaten again. They had 2 children, a boy of 8 and a girl of 5. Too young to understand, yet old enough to know that their mother's smiles were forced and their father's footsteps meant danger. At night, when Kunle slept peacefully, Amara cried silently beside him, careful not to wake the same man who broke her during the day. She told her parents. She knelt before them, her eyes swollen, her arms bruised beneath long sleeves. She begged for help. Her mother sighed deeply and said, "Marriage is not easy. Endure it for your children." Her father avoided her eyes. "Go back to your husband, pray more." So she went back, enduring, praying, breaking. Years passed. 10 years of marriage felt like a lifetime of suffering. Amara forgot what happiness felt like. She moved like a shadow in her own home, speaking only when spoken to, shrinking whenever Kunle raised his voice. Then came their 10th wedding anniversary. Amara remembered. She saved money secretly for weeks. She cooked his favorite meal, dressed neatly, and kept checking the time. She imagined, just for a moment, that maybe today would be different. Maybe 10 years would soften his heart. But Kunle did not come home. Night fell, the food went cold, the children slept. Later, she learnt where he had been, laughing loudly in a restaurant, drinking with friends, his arm around a woman who was not his wife, his mistress. When he finally returned home late that night, smelling of alcohol and perfume, Amara gathered the courage she had buried for years. Quietly, carefully, she said, "Today is our wedding anniversary." He stared at her. Then he slapped her so hard she fell. "Who gave you the audacity to question me in my own house?" he shouted. That night, something inside Amara died completely. From that day on, they lived like strangers sharing pain. No words, no warmth, only fear. Kunle became worse. He installed CCTV cameras around the house, not for security, but to monitor her, to watch her movements, to control her even when he was not home. Ironically, those cameras would later become her voice. One evening, Kunle returned drunk and angry. The children hid in their room, used to the sounds of chaos. He accused Amara of disrespect, of sins she did not commit. He beat her mercilessly. She begged, she cried, she shielded her head. As he raised his hand again, something snapped. Not rage, but survival. She reached for a rod nearby, swinging blindly, desperately. It struck his head. Kunle collapsed. Silence filled the room. Amara screamed. Her hands shook as she realized what had happened. She did not run away. She did not hide. Instead, she ran to the police, crying uncontrollably, confessing everything. Kunle was rushed to the hospital. He did not survive. When the news broke, Kunle's family descended like vultures. "She killed our son. She planned it. She must pay." Amara was arrested. In the cell, she thought of her children. She thought of her parents' words, "endure." She wondered if endurance had finally killed her. The case went to court. The world judged her before hearing her story. A woman who killed her husband. A wife who failed. Then the truth spoke. Kunle's own CCTV footage was presented. The court watched months, years of abuse, the shouting, the beatings, the fear in her eyes. They saw the final night. They saw her begging. They saw the blow was accidental. They saw self-defense, not murder. The courtroom was silent when the verdict was read. Not guilty. Amara collapsed, crying, not in relief alone, but in mourning for the years she lost, the woman she used to be. She walked out of the court a free woman, but freedom felt unfamiliar. Healing would take time. Today, Amara lives quietly with her children. Some scars remain on her body and in her heart, but she breathes without fear now. She sleeps without waiting for footsteps. Her story is not one of violence. It is a story of survival and a reminder that endurance should never mean dying slowly.